guys.
Hey!
I'm Dr. Yazdan. I'm a cosmetic dentist in Newport Beach. I'm here with Dr. Majestic.
I'm Dr. Majestic. I'm an emergency medicine physician in Orange County, in Newport Beach, where we are.
Yes.
It's nice to see you guys. Thanks for joining in. I know it's a Friday, so you guys are probably busy with your Christmas shopping and all that kind of
Weekend
stuff.
plans,
Yeah.
Friday afternoon fun.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have both of our phones set up, so if we're looking in a weird direction, that's why. And
I'm looking at yours.
I know, I'm looking at mine, but then
it's
yours,
a little
it feels like I'm
closer.
talking to, I don't know, a crowd.
Yeah.
So that's why. And we'll get to your questions, but we're going to talk about a lot of the stuff that we mentioned on Instagram and that people had messaged us about first.
Right. So the first one that you guys wanted to know, a lot of people wanted to know how to apply to medical and dental school and how to make your application stand out. So I'll let you go first if you have comments about that.
So I think that the application process is really important. Everyone needs good grades and good scores, but you need to make it you and you need to make it unique through, I think one thing is who you know and who you've networked with. So those people can get you letters of recommendation and they can really kind of speak up for you. They can email people for you. They may know you personally, whereas the people on the committee are gonna know your numbers and your stats. So that's totally different. They're still looking for really good, well-rounded people. So if you can get more information in their face, one way or another, recommendation letters is one way to do that. And phone calls, any networking you can do, super, super important.
Right. So I kind of agree with you on that. Like, definitely grades are important and test scores are important and all that. But if you had a period where you had low exam scores or low grades for whatever reason, then use your personal statement as a reason to show that hardship. And also letters of rec was a good one too. That was one of my things. People that you know have graduated from the school or the program, it's really good to network with them and try to get letters of rec. So that's one thing. And then for dentistry specifically, extracurricular activities that show that you have good manual dexterity, like any instrument that you play or anything that involves working with your hands is always a good one to add to your application. Let's see.
I think too, if you've shown that you're really interested, like Dr. Yazdan said, through those extracurriculars, you're also showing them that you're serious. So a lot of people say, I want to go into medicine or I want to go into dentistry, but if you don't have experiences behind that statement, people will question your commitment level. So getting those experiences through volunteering and, a job, maybe working as an office assistant even, starting from the bottom will really show, your dedication.
And you could add those in your personal statement too, like have a short paragraph that says that, you've really looked into this program and you've done X, Y, and Z, and you know that you like the field and you're committed. So all those are really important too. I'm really big on the personal statement stuff because everything else is just a number. Everyone fills out a good application. But the personal statement is something that captures the attention of whoever's reading it, and you could really get a lot of information across that way. So look into that, and it's your chance to really share something about yourself that they wouldn't know throughout your application. So next question.
Next question was how to balance our careers with our relationships. I'll let you answer that one first. She's married.
So that's a hard one because I'm kind of a workaholic, but I've kind of made it my commitment that when I'm working, and when I'm with my husband, I'm with my husband. So sometimes they intertwine, but only like on an emergency basis. And you have to make sure that whoever you're with really supports your decisions and supports you, because that makes life a lot easier. So my husband's very, very supportive. I'm so lucky. And he knows that. He knows like when I'm working, and he does everything he can to help me. And when I'm with him, I make sure that I'm with him and I'm not, like answering work phone calls or work emails. And if I am, I limit it. So maybe like 5 or 10 minutes, or I tell him, you know what, give me an hour. Let me just catch up on this. And then, we can do whatever we can. I'm all yours for whatever we need to do. Go out to dinner, whatever it is. So that's one thing. Let me see. Oh, the other thing that's really big for me is I organize my time. So that kind of goes along with it. So if I know that my husband isn't working and we have a chance to go out together for an evening or a day or something, I make sure that I organize my time so that whenever he's free, I'm free to hang out with him. So this is another thing I do whenever I feel like I've worked a lot and I just can't seem to get away from it. I plan like a mini vacation. So we try to travel and do something, even if it's a staycation, something really fun where it's just us two and there's no work involved, no cell phone. It really helps us connect and be connected and all that. And then we try to have date nights. I don't know if you and Chris do that, but we try to have date nights, at least, or at least once a week. Like, we both don't have kids right now, so we can get away with it. So we make sure, even if we're gonna meet up with friends, we'll do something just us two, like either before we meet with our friends, or we'll leave our friends a little early and just go have dessert together, or whatever it is. So just make sure we spend quality time together. And then, like I said before, just make sure that whoever you're with really supports your career and understands all the aspects of your career and your business, because of course if they don't, then it makes it a lot harder.
Yes, I think that is probably one of the hardest parts. I personally feel like I got lucky because Chris, anyone who follows me has probably met him. He's a firefighter, so his schedule is just as crazy as mine, and he is really understanding. So I totally agree with that. You need to have someone who maybe not, if they're not in the same field, they don't understand exactly what you're doing, but they're okay and support you when you're doing it. And that's important because you're always going to have unexpected emergencies and, random times when you have to say, like, I'm sorry, I can't make that. Like, I know we planned that, but something happened, and especially, in the emergency world, it happens all the time. So it's a constant kind of emotional roller coaster for your partner. So having someone who's really strong and independent stand by you in our careers is really important. Chris and I, he has taught me to be very spontaneous, and I'm not spontaneous. I do much better with a plan, but the plans don't usually work these days because of our schedules, and especially with the fires going on, Chris is always getting called in. So we always do date night also, at least once a week, or date morning or date day. But there are many times where we're not planning anything and we just kind of decide, okay, we're going to be spontaneous and go to Disneyland. Like, that's one of our things.
I love Disneyland.
I know.
Especially this time of year.
I know. And I was such a Disneyland, I was like anti-Disney for a while. Don't hate me, you guys. Because I thought it was like a little too crazy for me in the career that I'm in. I didn't want to go like wait in lines and be around people. But we got a pass, and that's totally different.
I actually really agree with you, because when you get the pass, you don't feel like you have to be there all day.
Exactly.
So you could go for like 2 or 3 hours and like have some fun food, walk around, take some photos, go on like 2 rides, and then you leave. And you don't feel guilty, like, oh my god, we spent all this money on tickets. Yeah, and we have to be here till midnight, till it closes.
Yes.
Like, I love passes. We used to have them too, but we don't anymore. But I just don't have time to go.
I know.
But it's okay. I love it there.
Chris convinced me to get a pass, so pass holder now.
Yeah.
So we'll do random stuff like that where you're kind of in a world where you feel like a child again. So that's like a big thing for us. We need time to not worry and not stress, and sometimes that is all in your environment.
That's like your little staycation.
Yes. Yeah. We just went on a little staycation to Temecula wine country, and we literally just thought about nothing. Went to the spa, had some wine, obviously. Someone drove us around. So stuff like that is super important. You gotta detach. What else was I gonna say?
One thing for me is, I don't know about you, but my husband really helps me in my career. So it almost feels like sometimes that my business is our business.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is. We're married, but it feels like a team, like a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that too. Like if your significant other like helps you, it could be the smallest thing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
my husband doesn't know anything about dentistry really. Like he just knows whatever he asks me and I tell him. But just like other things about it, he really helps me with. So
Yeah.
I
I totally agree. And social media is, more of a hobby for me, not as much as, not as much as of a career as my primary job. But Chris is super involved in that. So same thing, like it makes you feel like you do have a partner.
Yeah.
And they're not, you're not taking up their time. They're not taking up your time because it's your time together always.
Right.
And it's shared. And then there's no hostility. I've been in relationships before where it's like, well, we're doing this for you, so now you have to do this for me. And that just is not, it doesn't fly in our careers.
It doesn't work. No.
So make sure, your partner is supportive. That's number one.
Totally.
Huge.
Totally. Okay, so next question. Oh, what we did when no one was watching to get where we are now. Well, the short answer to that is work your butt off. You always have to go the extra mile. Doesn't matter if someone's watching. I mean, I never did anything because someone was watching or someone wasn't watching.
Mm-hmm.
I did it because I had an end goal. And so you just find every way to get to that end goal, no matter what it is. Staying in on Friday nights, missing out on trips with your friends, whatever it may be. I mean, that's just kind of what I did. One important thing that I recommend everyone doing is finding a good mentor. That really, really will help you in your career. If you find someone that is really seasoned in their career and you can learn from them, just soak up everything. And then one thing I want to mention is that you have to learn from everybody. So whether you think they're smart, stupid, experienced, not experienced. I mean, I have people I learn from all the time that, I've been doing this for a little bit now, not as long as some of my colleagues, but I learn from them. But then there's also some of the new graduates that maybe there's new techniques out there that I don't know about, and somebody might share something with me and I look into it. So you have to learn from everybody. Everyone's at a different level. Everyone has different tips and tricks that they've picked up in the years that they've been working, and so that's a big thing. Learn from everyone.
Mm-hmm. I feel like personally, a lot of those things were the same things that I did. But if you want like a visual, when no one was watching, I literally would just park it on I like to study at home when I was in med school, so I would park it on my couch or in my office. I had this like tiny little office. With my glasses before I had LASIK. They were like these thick, terrible glasses that I couldn't even see out of. And like a face mask and no makeup, hair's never done, and sat there with like all my snacks lined up and just went to work. Like that was the regular. Just like Dr. Yazdan said, I didn't go to a lot of parties, events in med school. Like I definitely made time for them. I did a lot of that before med school. When I was in med school, it was just, blinders on, straight ahead.
Like survival mode, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I felt like.
Yeah, it was kind of like, how many days can I go without washing my hair because it takes up 30 minutes of my time?
Yeah.
And then I have to brush it.
Yeah,
and
totally.
that's study time, so yeah.
I remember the first day after I graduated from dental school, first of all, I slept in, but sleeping in for me is like 6:30 a.m. because that's just
so
what
nice.
you're used to. So
Yeah.
then I wake up, and then I went to the gym. I came home. I like showered, washed my hair, put on makeup, and then I was like, "Is this what people feel like? Like they have time?" Because you don't have that stress anymore when you graduate dental school or medical school. You like just don't have that stress of school. So and you don't really have a license, so you can't work yet. So I just felt so like relieved, and I was like, wow, like this is something I've like never experienced. So it's funny. But.
Yeah. I agree. And we were just reading through some of the messages on Dr. Yazdan's Instagram post, and someone had asked, like, how do we find time to stay pretty? And the answer is that it's not always like that, first of all. We went through, like we just said, like years of no makeup, hair's never done, not working out, just studying, making the sacrifices. But now we both have a significantly more amount of time.
Yeah.
You know, so don't look and be like, oh, it's so easy, you know, they always look done up and happy and enthusiastic. It's not like that all the time. It's certainly not like that.
And especially during like a working day, like I come in looking polished, but I don't leave looking the same way. I wear a mask and gloves and goggles, and my hair is all up, and a gown, and you do too, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes I leave and I'm like, who is
Wilted
that?
flower.
Yeah, like who am I? Why do I look like this? But one thing that might help with like looking pretty is schedule the time. So whenever I go get my hair cut or my nails done, I literally schedule like my next appointment so that I have to go, and then I don't change that. I mean, unless there's an emergency, but I just make sure that I don't change that. Let's see. And another thing is, I don't know about you, but I don't really sleep much. Like 4 to 5 hours a night is good for me, and I've been used to it for years and years and years. So I guess I have more hours in the day. Let's see.
I try to sleep. I actually sleep a lot now because I feel like my hours are so variable that I have to get the sleep when I can. So I'm always switching from days to nights. So that can leave me with, you know, a full 24 hours of not sleeping sometimes, or not really 24 hours, almost. So then I have to like make up for it. And then by default, you know, you're never really on schedule. So I used to not sleep a lot, but now when I do sleep, I try to sleep for 8 hours. It's just not every day, if that makes sense. It's like, it's messed up because of the night shifts.
That makes sense. And then as far as like working out, I just make it a priority to go. Like sometimes I went through a period where for like a year I went to the gym every day at like 5 a.m. and that was really nice, but I just don't feel like doing that anymore. Sometimes I do. But I just make it a priority, and sometimes working out for me doesn't mean I have to go to the gym. Like I could take a really long walk, or I can jump rope for 20 minutes, you know, even in my garage or in my office. Like it doesn't have to be at the gym. So I just make it a priority to do something, like some kind of physical activity, because a lot of my job is like sitting, and I like to be active. So that you just have to make a priority. When I was in dental school, it was a lot harder, so I would make it a priority to go like on the weekends or maybe one time during the week, and then make sure I don't skip a Saturday or a Sunday. But and overall, I feel like working out for me is more of like a mental thing, not even like a physical. Like I don't care to see a difference in my body. I'm happy, thankfully, and it just makes me feel better and more energized.
Yeah, I totally agree. And one thing that I always talk about that I had to get over, it took me so long, is just like Dr. Yazdan said, your workouts need to be of good quality, not always of good quantity. So you do not have to work out for an hour and a half to get a good workout.
Right.
Like 25 minutes. Have you guys ever heard of Shanti's T25? Like I like that. I did that today actually because I had a lot of stuff to do this morning and needed to catch up, and you know, ended up with only a short period of time. So work hard when you're working hard. Right. You know, when you're working out. And then leave it, you know? Don't be stressed out about, oh, it wasn't 60 minutes or it wasn't 90 minutes. The same thing with studying. I had the same issues with studying. You gotta convince yourself.
Totally. Just be efficient. You know, sometimes like a 30-minute workout will be better than your hour-long workout. So I totally agree with that. And as far as like working out when you travel and stuff, just sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So I don't know. But you just have to make it a priority if you want to do it. There's no excuse. You could go in the morning, you could go late at night, you could go in the middle of the day on your lunch break. So if that's something that you want to include, then just make it a priority and do it.
Agreed.
And then let's see. Somebody wrote, how do you manage relationships if you're in professional school? That's a good one. I think, again, your significant other really needs to support you. And if it's meant to be, it's going to work out. And if it's not meant to be, then it's not going to work out. I don't think that you should stress about your relationship. One thing for me is like I can only handle one really complicated thing in my life. So for me at the moment, it's, you know, running my business. So my workouts have to be simple. My relationships have to be simple. If you're like a very complicated friend of mine, we're not really friends. Hi friends. But you know, try to keep it simple in every aspect so you have one big thing that you could focus on and put all your energy towards.
It's not really fair to you if you have a goal in life to have your attention all over the place. And we have to be our own advocates for that. You know, many people, probably most of us here, have been in relationships that have taken more of your attention than you've wanted. And of course your attention should be there, but just like she was saying, it shouldn't be complicated and it shouldn't make you feel bad.
Yeah.
You know, it should be a build up, not a breakdown.
Right.
And that is, you have to remember to put yourself first. Your partner is, you know, should always be a close first, but you know, you're first when you're trying to get to a goal that's going to provide for you, your partner, your family, you know, your dreams.
Your education will always be there. And your boyfriend or girlfriend might not always be there. So keep that in mind too. Don't not go to a school because of a relationship, or don't join a program because of a relationship. That person should support you. So that's my take on that.
And it's so hard, but and it's
we're
like,
not saying there won't be hard times, but
it's easy for us to say too because we're, you know, 12 years later and like you know, have relationships, but we promise it's doable and you'll be so thankful on the other end when you end up with, you know, the right person. Follow your gut. That's like the biggest thing. I didn't do that in the past and went through a lot, so it's good to, you know, you need to trust your gut with that kind of stuff.
Trust your gut. I 100% agree with you. And then we had a question about, do we ever feel like we're missing out on parts of our life, like being a mom? For me, no, because I wanted to be married before I had children. So that was just a personal decision and how I want to do things. So I wasn't married. So I didn't feel like I was missing out on being a mom because my focus was on being married. And now that I'm married, I have 2 nieces that were just born, so I'm enjoying them. I'm not saying I don't want to have kids, I do, but I'm not in a rush right now to have kids. But I should start thinking of it because I'm, you know, rounding that
Me too.
advanced maternal age. But I did miss out on other things. I did miss out on shopping trips with my friends. I missed out on vacations with my friends, parties with my friends. That kind of stuff, being in school, I definitely missed out on. But at the end of the day, I got to my end goal, and that's what I chose to do. So if you have an end goal and that means that you don't have as much time for social activities, then so be it. And that's kind of it and how I feel about that.
Yeah, you just have to be confident in your decisions, I think. And people are always going to talk, you know, negatively about women and not just women, but, you know, being older in a field or being female or for anyone, you know, of either gender missing out on stuff because you're working. And of course there's a balance, you know, that takes years to find, but if you feel like you're missing out, I think you need to change your attitude, you know?
It's a good one.
And I've been there. And I have days where I'm still like that. And this morning might have been one of those times. But you gotta turn it around, because you don't feel bad. I can't feel bad for myself. Like, look at what you've accomplished, you know?
Yeah.
You have to like look in the mirror and be like, well, I may not have kids yet, and I may be getting married later in life than I thought I would.
Totally.
But that was my choice, and look what I have to show for it, and just move on, to find what you want to find. So
I agree. I actually don't mind that I got married a little later in life, because like I knew exactly what I wanted. When I was like in my young 20s, oh God,
how do you even know?
You just don't. I think I wasn't in the right mindset. I think I was so focused on school that getting married, I just kind of thought it would happen, and then I graduated and I was like, oh, I need to find someone to marry and be with. So I don't mind that I got married a little later.
Yeah.
But it does, like, sometimes when I see other couples that have been together for like 10 years and they got married like a little younger, I think that's so cute, because they had time to like grow up together.
Yeah.
And like now when they have kids, like they've spent a lot of really good solid years together.
Yes.
We might not have that, but I mean, I think the years me and my husband spent together are really solid and good, but you know what I mean? Like, we might not have like 10 years before we have children, but that's okay. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, at least you like find your person,
Yeah, that's more important.
Obviously.
It's more important to find the right person than just to find a person.
Yes.
So, and then we had some medical ones. There's like how diseases in the mouth can affect diseases throughout the body. So to kind of bridge the gap between dentistry and medicine. Diseases in the mouth, I mean, your mouth is part of your body, so it's gonna affect your body. If you get a lot of bacteria buildup, you can get things like endocarditis. A lot of diabetic people lose their teeth. Pregnancy affects your teeth. So all these things, there are a lot of connections. I mean, we can elaborate on that at another time.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Yeah, we can definitely do another session if you guys are into it, and maybe talk a little bit more about some medical conditions, dental conditions. But yeah, I see a lot of people in the ER with nasty teeth, and they usually
send them to me.
They usually have a lot of medical conditions, and maybe one doesn't necessarily cause the other, but they are very much intertwined and associated with one another.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, if you don't have nice teeth, that's like right in front of everyone, in front of the world too. It's like a cosmetic thing as well, which in my opinion, your external self also is a form of, your external self represents your internal self. So again, like, I feel like that is all intertwined. So.
And I know that dental care is really expensive. I know that.
That's true.
But if you guys are struggling for dental care, let me give you a tip. Go to a dental school, because the work that you'll have done is actually good. It's looked over by so many faculty. It's much more affordable. It's not convenient. You're gonna have to go sit in the chair. Yes, there's a student working on you. It's not very convenient. The appointments are really long, but you'll actually get better dental care than if you're just like shopping around for dentists and picking like the cheapest one. Usually those insurance-based offices aren't that fantastic. Usually, I've seen some that are fantastic, but usually it's like drill, fill, and bill, and you're just a number and get you in and out as fast as you can. So, but if you're struggling and you can't get the dental care that you think you need, go to a dental school.
Yeah, I think a lot of us as med students did that. We had a dental school affiliated with our med school. So a lot of my friends actually went over to the dental school, and you feel like you're helping a student too.
Yeah, totally. You totally are helping a student, because they need the requirements, you need the treatment, so it's like a win-win situation. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's kind of it for the questions that you guys asked us, except for what you guys are typing now.
I know, there's a lot of typing going on, and I'm gonna have to get up and look at it, and it's gonna be really awkward, because my face is gonna come into the camera. Let me see, and it's sideways too.
I have a question. Are we both getting different questions?
Yes, we are.
Oh, shoot.
How do you handle upset patients? That's the first one I read.
Okay.
That one's a tough one. You have to come from a place of nice, if that makes sense.
You have to see why they're upset.
Yes.
And if
get
it's
down to the
something
root
you can
cause.
help with.
Sometimes they just want someone to listen to them too.
Totally. I get that too.
So if you're nice to them and you give them your ears, just even for a minute, even if you have lots of other things to do, because you will, sometimes that helps a lot, I've noticed.
Yeah, me too. And sometimes their frustration is coming from a previous experience that they've had. So if they're upset because they feel like they've had the same problem and nobody's been able to help them, and you think that whether you can or you can't, if you try or you try to get them into the hands of someone that can help them, that'll go a long way. If they're upset because of something that you did, then you try to listen to them. I mean, usually we're both pretty reasonable people, so if it's a legit reason to be upset, we're happy to help them, but you know.
You will not make everyone happy.
Yeah.
That is one thing y'all going into these fields need to remember. So you got to get some thick skin, and
Totally, you need thick skin.
yes,
Yeah.
build yourself up. You're not going to make everyone happy. There's going to be confrontation. I hate confrontation.
I know.
Like, I hate it. I can't.
I know, especially if you're gonna go into like a cosmetic field, like plastic surgery or cosmetic dentistry or anything in cosmetics. You're not gonna make everyone happy. So one way to avoid angry patients is to give them realistic expectations.
That's a good one.
Before you actually do anything. Let them know like this is the condition that you have or the state that your teeth are in, and this is what you can expect. Anything more than that is not something that's reasonable and can't happen. So I would sometimes tell my patients very kindly that if God didn't make everything perfect, I can't either. So
That's a really good.
you can make
I
it
need to
as
use that line.
yeah, like you can make it as perfect as you can.
Yeah.
But you're human, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's a good answer.
what
I do know.
else?
Let me see if I can see some of these.
Okay.
Sorry, this is so awkward. Like, how long have you been in dentistry? Do you think being a dental assistant is helpful when you apply for dental school?
I do think being a dental assistant is helpful because it shows that you've been in the field, and it's like if you were a nurse applying to medical school, like it shows you're in the field, you're interested, you like it, you know what to expect. So yeah, I think it's totally helpful.
How long have you been in dentistry?
Out of school, I've been out of school for 5 years, but I kind of consider being in dental school as being in dentistry, so that started in 2008, so almost 10
Me
years.
too, we're like the same.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Me either.
I've been in school for 5 years too.
So, yeah, I mean, don't you consider being in medical school like being in medicine? I mean, you're like working on people, you're like in it, you're doing it, so.
Yeah, people still ask both of us all the time. So like, when are you graduating school, or
oh, are you interning?
are you an intern?
Yeah, I get that all the time. Oh, are you the assistant? And I'm like, oh God, do you see all the white hairs? I mean, I have a ton of white hair. I actually want to make a comment about my white hair because everybody always comments about my white hair.
They do?
Always. Everybody on all my posts, oh my God, I get messages all the time. Why don't you dye your white hair? If I wanted to dye my white hair, I will.
I know, obviously.
I just don't want to become obsessed with it. To dye my hair because it's like another thing that I have to add.
Oh, it's
and I don't want to do it, and it shows that I have a little wisdom. My dad has a lot of white hair, so it reminds me of my dad. And I don't mind it, and my husband doesn't mind it, so please keep your comments to yourself or send them to me and I'll block you. It's okay.
I have gray hairs too. They're like under here, they're hiding. But same thing, I dyed my hair for the first time like a year and a half ago, and I'm never doing it again. I just don't want to do it. I cannot.
I don't want to
do the upkeep. I need the simple.
Yeah, like it's already hard enough to get my hair like blown out. Like
Same.
have to do it myself. It takes a long time, and I just don't want to dye it. And I feel like it's a little unhealthy. I could be wrong, but
It probably is.
yeah.
I think you're some hair fall out. Okay, let me try not to like. Sorry, y'all. Someone's asking about the flu. I'm not at work right now. Sorry.
What about the flu shot?
Oh, the
You know,
flu shot.
I know you wrote a blog about that,
Mhm.
and I was totally obsessed with it, just to tell you, because I don't like the flu shot. I'm happy to take any other vaccine because I feel like they're very well studied,
Mhm.
but the flu shot is kind of like your best guess, and I don't love it. So when you
Yeah.
posted that, you guys have to read her blog, but when you posted it, I was like, oh my god, I have to read this.
Yeah,
But I
it's
was forced
always
to get it this
controversial.
year, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, without going into it too much, I think the flu shot, so I have to get it. I mean, unless I want to wear a mask for months, and I just don't. I've seen so many terrible things come from influenza, and of course it is a little bit spotty in terms of how good is the vaccine going to work, and does it even do anything? And there's some literature behind it, and every year it changes though, so you are going to have some variable results, but I'm willing, based on my experiences, to put my trust at least in the CDC and those results, to hopefully prevent, the flu from getting me, because when you got the flu, man, you really can't work. I mean, if I can't work, it's a big deal for my group. So I think I talked about that a lot in my post. Covering shifts is huge. Like we really, really try not to call out ever. So if I got the flu, that would just be
horrible.
Bad.
Yeah.
Bad news.
I usually don't get it, but I got it this year because of the nurses.
And you're live.
Yeah,
You made
it was
it.
a nothing thing. Sandy gave it to me. Hi, Sandy. Thank you for giving me the flu shot. You're amazing.
Oh, someone's asking about GPA in undergrad, and is it hard to maintain, and how do you do it?
Same kinds of things. You have to study really hard. Is it hard to maintain? It depends how much you study. I think if you know your weaknesses, know what you're weak in. If you're weak in a specific topic or a specific way of studying, know that and get help for it. I mean, in undergrad, there's what is it called when the professor, office hours?
Oh, office hours.
Yeah, there's office hours. There's other students. Another thing I want to say is maybe make friends with people that are smarter than you and more advanced and better than you. Yeah, because
really
they'll help you. You'll help them in other ways, but they'll help you. They'll help you study. They'll help you learn things, go to office hours. So that's how you can help keep your GPA up and get those A's.
Office hours are a really good way to make connections for letters of rec too.
Totally.
I went to Arizona State in undergrad, so it's a huge school. Had no idea how I was going to get to know anyone, and office hours was a huge way. I really needed help in physics, not gonna lie, and I also got a letter of recommendation from my physics professor, even though physics is literally my least favorite subject ever.
Mine too.
I did terrible, but
it's okay. And then another thing is if you have a bad test score or something, don't feel like such a failure. Take that as, okay, I need help. I need to figure out how to make this better, and use that to your advantage. I don't know, I always look at anything I don't look at anything that's bad as a failure to me. I feel like it's okay, I need help or I need to improve somewhere, so where can I get help to fix this?
That's a really good point, and I feel like that for me, I'm still working on it, but that took years, years. And we didn't have social media. We're not old, but we didn't have social media or any of
Not
this.
like this.
No,
it was MySpace, but it wasn't like this.
Yeah, there weren't interactions and stuff where you could learn hey, what are these professionals recommending that I do?
Yeah.
What did they do? What did they go through? Is this normal? So I think that everyone's going to have to go through it and figure it out for themselves. But if we can kind of help you guys get there a little bit quicker, thank you to social media.
I know,
so,
right?
Yeah, you can't look at yourself as a failure. The
Never.
worst thing you can do is beat yourself up about all the things that you don't think are good enough in yourself. That will lead to just lots of mental stress. And
I had a friend tell me once, it's somebody I went to undergrad with, and he would get an A+ on every single exam that we took, and I'm like, how are you, and it was in physics too, and I was like, how is this possible? And then I told him once, I was like, how come I have to read the same thing 5 times before I can understand it, and you just read it once and you know everything? And then he said, it doesn't matter how many times you have to read it. What if I could understand it in one reading, but I don't read? Like, it just matters that the end result, that you get it. So keep pushing forward. It's okay if you think someone's smarter than you and you have to work harder, then just work harder. Like, you'll get there.
And comparisons, which is huge because of social media, that those comparing yourself to others can be like the devil.
Yeah, just don't. Don't ever compare yourself to anybody. Doesn't matter who it is. Just there's no reason. Everyone's on their own path. Everyone's like stresses in life are different. Everyone's paths are different. So don't compare yourself. Compare yourself to yourself. Like, make sure you're advancing from whatever the previous year or the last 6 months or whatever it is.
Okay, let me see if I can see another question over here.
Okay.
Without being too awkward. We'll save this live, you guys, so you can see it after. Sorry.
Thanks for doing that. I'll do it next time. Oh, and then by the way, in your screen, you can see she's wearing her figs scrubs. And so am I. We love figs. Thank you for all the wonderful scrubs.
A lot of people are just giving so much love. Thank you, guys. Sorry, you guys. I don't mean to be so awkward. Oh, my mom's on here. Hey.
Aw, how cute.
Yeah. I don't know, you guys.
You know, my
I
mom
kind of
has
give up.
an Instagram, and I'm the only person she follows. It's so awkward.
It's adorable.
I don't think she knows how to use it though. Like, I just saw it one time.
My mom had to learn. It was the learning curve. Now she knows how to watch the stories.
So cute.
And the lives, obviously.
Yeah.
So. That's great. Yeah, sorry you guys, I can't read any more questions. I feel too awkward.
Well, what we could do is maybe like go through it later and read them, and then we could do another thing. So we're gonna sign off.
Yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah, we want to go out too.
Yep, gonna go out right back to my couch.
Yeah,
and
enjoy my Christmas tree. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy my tree.
Yes, love the tree.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
I know, thank you. This was so great.
I know, and
doing it with someone else.
I know, huh? I never do live, so maybe I should start doing them, but with her.
I know, it's more fun with her. We'll save the lives so you guys can see them for the next 24 hours if you missed something, or if you just want to watch it again. I mean, get on it.
All right. So we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Be safe.
Yeah.
Now I just figure out how to turn it off. There
I know, me too. You're going to have to help me.
And
oh, here.
We got this. We got this.